Are you that person whom God is asking you to deliver something special, something that's you, something, it may be a small message, thought to share, and you're just kind of like trying to get over that mountain of overcoming your fears of what others might say about you, and you're conscious of yourself, and maybe you're just afraid to hit the record button because of that and many other reasons. Well, I went on a journey not long ago in the process of helping myself to produce content, and I wrote down what's called mentor letters. I created mentor letters, and they're kind of like encouraging words I wrote to myself to read every morning. I read the same letters every morning to encourage me. It's like meditate upon the word of the Lord day and night. And so I think social media presents itself an opportunity, not just a video, but I think you have to think a little bit more than that. I want to take you back to the time when Jesus asked Peter to launch out his boat into the deep. But that story starts out where Peter had fished all night, and he showed up, of course, in the morning. They're tidying up their net. Jesus is preaching there, right at that very spot. And the book of Luke describes Jesus needing a space to preach, so he asks Peter to stand in the boat and just push out a little bit so he could stand from the boat and preach. And after he finished preaching, he then turned to Peter and said, "Peter, launch out to feather into the deep and cast the nets." And Peter, of course, was trying to explain to Jesus, "Look, Jesus, we fished all night and we didn't catch anything. But nevertheless, at your word, I'll launch out, go feather out and cast my net into the deep." And as soon as Peter obeyed, of course, the fish came. Could this be that launching out where for you and me, or for you, it could be a challenge, it could be that one small hurdle of overcoming your fears and realizing that ministry, the perspective of social media ministry, carries something for you. I believe that changing your perspective about certain things, or like just life as you go along, you change your perspective. And when you started out, when the world started out on the internet, we had a certain perspective about social media. But then we began to evolve. And I could comfortably say that we're at a point in the world today that content is now an everyday and normal thing. But it's not a normal thing for many who are just viewers. You could make it your normal thing. And especially as a Christian, we have nuggets of wisdom. We have revelations poured down from heaven to us, each and every individual. That's what I believe. Every Christian has something from God that they can share. So my basic practical instructions is to pick up your phone and hit the record button. When you hit it, is access to someone else, and that someone else has access to you. And when you hit the record button, you might not want to post it, but I would encourage you to record yourself, hear yourself. And I was saying once, as I taught the concept, that record yourself once and you might sound all right. Some people are more natural than others. Record yourself till you get to 100 times. Do 100 recordings of yourself. Now take the 100th video and the number one video and play them side by side and notice how different they are. That same principle came out of the Atomic Habits book, where James Clear tells a story of a class that was told to go and take photos, and the class was broken into two groups. Group number A, or group number A, group A, jeez, and group B. And group A was told to take one photo, not to test, not to try to find that one photo, but to make sure that when they clicked, that was the photo. So they couldn't have any trials. It had to be the one photo. And they had to come to class and present that photo. And group B had to have 100 goes at taking photos. And out of that 100 goes, they should pick their best photo and bring it to class. Now, what do you think happened? Of course, when the lecturer picked up the photos and he compared all of them, he analyzed all of them, Group A's photos were very amateur because they only had one chance at doing it right, making it perfect. And Group B had 100 chances, 100 goes at it, and they refined themselves through the process. Content creation is very much like that. You keep doing it every day, you learn something new, and you get better at it. And I'm not saying you become perfect, but you become close to what looks like perfect. And the best part of it is your perspective changes and elevates through the process. So you learn new things, you begin to notice new things. I being an avid interest, I take interest in photos as well, and videos, of course. I notice things. So imagine those 100 photos that the Group B took. They would have noticed things they didn't notice before, but they would have been implementing all of the rules of photography and videography. You might be thinking, oh well, but I'm going to fumble my words. I continue to try to make sure I'm delivering my best. And it doesn't have to be a hard mountain to climb. It just has to be a mountain that you experience, if you follow, if you get my thinking. And so I would encourage you to step into that space if you are not that kind of person that is comfortable with the camera and comfortable with talking on the camera, to build a skill set, to build around that area in your life, and you'll be surprised. You'll grow. I definitely have grown. So I encourage you also to step into that space.